Hi, welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm your host today, Charles, and going over a recap of last week between DEA and UMB, where DEA took the 2-0 win against UMB. Today, I'm also joined by, again, Daydream and
Hi.
her interviewee photographer, Raptor.
Hello.
Today, they're going to go over just a couple of questions and interviews about the state of the split this season, kind of the some of the ideas and plans that NSG has, and just the general direction that everything is going. But I'll let Daydream take over from here.
First of all, hi everyone on stream. It's a pleasure to be back here again for the second week in a row casting Victoris Amateur Series. As STO mentioned, I am joined by Photography Raptor, 80 carry for NSG Amethyst, I believe. And if, why don't you introduce yourself? Don't let me speak for you.
Yeah, I'm Raptor. I'm the 80k for Amethyst, like you said. We just came out of a season, winter season in Titan, so had a couple months break and ready to be back and playing in another league.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely great to hear. I know I did an interview with you over text form in the
hmm
little document that I made, but shout out to my text documents. I work hard on them. But I just wanted to give a little taste of the interview to stream and the wider population. So I guess to start off, what are your just thoughts? 1 week into the split, we're just starting off with everything, and how are you feeling about all of it?
I mean, I'm feeling good coming off the start. We had a good week one, so I mean, it's always nice when things start off strong. Short games, fun games, and then it's just kind of hoping to carry that momentum through.
Yeah, definitely, of course. You guys did get the win last week against Hybrid
hmm
Theory, if I recall
Yep.
correctly. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
great.
and I mean, we also had some data from like last season, looking at like what they played, how they played, and so like we had a decent game plan going into it, and it wasn't too hard.
Yeah. Those are your opponents last week. Today, you are going to be playing against Whooper. Any
hmm
thoughts on them? How are you feeling coming into this matchup?
Fine. It's actually funny because L Dragon on our team actually plays on a team with two people on Whooper, and so it's got a bit of a fun time going on there with them. So it should be some fun times, and
Right?
Seems Mr. Raptor has frozen up a little. Sorry, we're dealing with some technical difficulties, but yeah, just to compound on that, NSG Amethyst versus Wooper is going to be our streamed game for tonight. Photography Raptor, when he gets out of technological jail, will be back to talk to us about his thoughts on the matchup. Ezio, I guess it's just me and you for now. How are you feeling about this matchup between NSG Amethyst and Wooper?
I'm yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about the matchup between the two since we'll have NSG's perspective on all of it since our ADC's here. I guess let's talk a little bit about Whooper. They've got some big names on the team. They've got Pops, and then actually they've got Ishan and who else is on the team? I remember Galifianakis being on there, but Gali doesn't play for the team at the moment. And then there was Nafquan, I believe.
Yeah. Um, uh,
I'm
yeah.
not a raptor, but I'm here.
Welcome back.
Yeah. Yeah. So, now that Photography Raptor has had some technical difficulties, we contacted him. His breaker is sort of down, so while he gets that fixed up, we've brought in Regdor. Regdor is obviously my lovely color caster here. He was in voice call jail while we were doing the interview, but he is back to just go on with the regularly scheduled pre-show. So
Mhm.
Regdor, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing great. I've just been sitting here listening to what was going to be a great interview. Somebody talk about my bald head in chat. I don't like that. But he's old anyways, so it's fine. I'm excited for today's match. I actually played against Ishan and Bpots in another league. Bpots was also on my team at one point. So maybe a little Whooper biased coming in, but overall excited to see, especially for NSG, coming off of a win last split, not same team, but nonetheless, trying to continue the domination they seem to have had in the past.
Hmm. I mean, NSG is just coming in as a big name. I mean, among some of the other ones, and they have what one team per group in this stage, and they have two more teams than the division above them, and then one team in BTS, I believe. So 6 teams in all, or am I counting wrong somewhere?
I
Um,
wasn't a math major.
yeah, me
That's
neither.
right.
Counting is not, in fact, my strong suit. That's why I didn't count to 10 for the 10 thoughts articles. I just
Hmm.
counted to 3 and I called it a day. But either way, NSG definitely having a big presence, in the Victoris scene. Obviously NSG Infinity champions of last split, and granted that roster is sort of scattered across VAS golds, but you still have to respect the organization and sort of the caliber of player that comes with it, considering they have all this proven success. Whooper, more of a sort of down to earth, friendly organization. I'm very close with Beanie, B-Pots.
Hmm.
They're sort of more of a ragtag bunch of friends, and it's going to be a bit of a David versus Goliath story up, for tonight.
I mean, realistically though, my I have high hopes for Whooper because I mean, even in the draft leagues, every one of them is a big name. Every team that they get on is automatically 10% chance to win. So it's not like it's just any random people playing together. These are people with a good amount of skill under their belt in a team together. I just want to say that because I want to hype up Whooper. I love that team.
Yeah, definitely. Like, Whooper, I'm more familiar with the Whooper players. I spoken to Raptor a few minutes ago, really, and before for the interview. But besides Raptor, I'm not particularly familiar with the players in specifically the Victoria scene, which is going to be good. It's week 2. It's just a good time for them to get their names sort of out there. Sort of you know, leave their mark on, Victoria's. I'm not going to say Victoria's history. It's a week 2 regular season match, but if you start getting wins, suddenly other teams are going to start fearing you.
I mean, honestly, if you play a big enough game, week 2 will leave a mark. I mean, I hold the record for most deaths on Vigar in a single regular week, so it can be a big game.
Yeah, that maybe not the mark you want to go for. But I mean, just looking at some data from last week, there's really a lot of big discrepancies in draft. Corky and Victor being some of the highest ban rates out there. Some of the other things like Jinx is highly contested, and a lot of these things that play towards what the meta kind of is, and the VAS's meta is still being established between solo queue and pro play and whatever in between. So I really think it's going to be still in the creative stage of finding out what works for either of these teams and what is their kind of style of how they choose to close out these games.
Mhm.
Yeah, 100%. And I am getting confirmation from my lovely producer Camcom that Mr. Raptor is back.
Hello, world.
Are you okay? It's my first
I am,
question.
yeah. My breaker flipped. That it's a house in New York from the 1920s or something. So that happens sometimes.
Yeah, well, it is great to have you back. And Regdor, I am sorry, but I will be spending a lot of time with you tonight on stream. So let's try and get back where we left off. Mr. Raptor, tell me, what do you think about maybe not even just the other competition in your group, but just the
hmm
other competition in the league? All however many teams we have. I believe
I
it's
haven't really
24.
looked through teams that aren't in my group because it's not really relevant right now. I definitely see like a couple names from people that I've like recognized before. I think there's like 2 players in the whole league that like I know that either weren't on past NSG teams or something else. So like I don't have a lot of context there, but I think there's at least 1 or 2 teams, like I said in the text interview, that will make playoffs interesting. So we'll see how that shakes out. I don't necessarily have like predictions out of the gate on who those will be because I'm not paying that close attention to them. I don't really care about them right now. But when we get to playoffs, it'll be fun to kind of dig through all those matches and see like how people did and what they were doing.
Yeah, definitely, obviously week 2, very early in the split, hard to tell, who's going to
hmm
be these quote unquote front runners. And, even still, even between regular season and playoffs, there's a lot of changes that can happen. So I
Oh
definitely,
yeah.
empathize with how you're feeling. I want to talk, you're specifically the AD carry for NSG Amethyst, and I want to hear your
Horrible
thoughts
role.
on the true. I'm an AD carry main, and
Oh, I'm
sometimes
sorry.
I cry. Yeah. My condolences to you as well. But I want to talk to you about your thoughts on the other ADCs in the Gold League.
Yeah, I mean, I think in most Gold League, AD carry is probably one of the worst played roles. I feel like most AD carries in Gold don't bother to learn how to actually play the role well. And they just kind of take a lot of what they do in solo queue, which ends up being like coin flipping games based on like what their team does, and then whether or not they can get to like 2, 3 items and then sit far back. Like I don't think they actually really learn how to like be useful at the point that they have like one item. And I think that like that's really something that like separates a lot of gold AD carries apart, is just kind of like what they do and how they play and how they play lane. Like I feel like a lot of times you'll see them kind of be scared to trade in competitive and really only play around jungle pressure and jungle prio. And I feel like it's at the same time, if you're doing that, you have to at least be able to farm halfway competently. And I feel like a lot of times I don't even see that. So it's it's varied. Like I feel like there's always a couple of good ones in every league, but I feel like as a whole, it's one of like the worst, along with jungle, one of the worst played roles.
Yeah, definitely very insightful. Sorry, the interview did get a little off schedule, so
No
I am
worries.
just going to ask you for any final thoughts, any messages to your fans or even Whooper themselves.
Yeah, so I mean, I heard Whooper, you liked going in. I think that was Ragdoor. I just have to say that coming out of it, we will be your favorites. We have some fun stuff planned. It's gonna be a good time. We like getting on stream. We like playing aggressively. We like to fight. So it should be a good time.
All right. Well,
And
thank you again. Oh, sorry,
and it's
I
just gonna
cut
be
you off.
easy. And no, sorry. And it's just gonna be easy. So there's that too.
Yeah, fair enough. Tough words coming out of Mr. Photography Raptor. I am gonna have to send you off as we bring in Regdor back from Boys Chat Jail again.
I made it. I just love the fact that people are vying for my heart in this game. That actually raises the stakes. We talked about week 2 making an impact. You can make an impact on me. And nobody talks about my fans either. I think like there's at least 3 people that like my suit jacket and my hair. So we've got things going for us.
Yeah, definitely. Ezio, your thoughts on the interview? Thoughts on NSG Amethyst? Any faith that has been inspired by Mr. Raptor's words?
I think it's going to be some exciting games that'll go to the full 3 tonight, and it's just going to be a fun split. I think there's going to be a lot of interesting picks picked specifically tonight.
All right, Ezio, you said it's going to go to a full 3, but who do you think is going to take the series? I want your hot take prediction right now.
It's going to be Whooper, 100%.
Whooper 2-1?
It's going to be a Whooper, 100%.
Interesting take.
I always root for the underdogs, and if it's not this time, it'll be the second time around for sure.
Fair enough. Regdor, your thoughts on tonight's match?
You just hedged your bets. Honestly, like I said, I do know Whoopers. I've seen some of them play before. I think they're a phenomenal team. But I think some of the pedigree of NSG shows through. You could hear the confidence in Raptor's voice. And I mean, I'm going to say it'll go 3 games, but I think it'll be 2-1 NSG.
Fair enough take. My personal take on this is that, Bpots, he's my homie, but I have to go with my gut, and my gut is saying 2-0 NSG Amethyst.
Ooh, not even going to give him a third. Wow.
I'm gonna get so many angry DMs from Bpots after this stream, but it will be worth it. We are going to get into game as soon as possible, but before we get into draft, I am gonna send us to a quick break. But we will see you guys as soon as possible.